exactly 9:38 a.m. Welcome back. And I think this part of the interview is going to bring lots of smiles to lots of faces. And it's almost a time for a celebration. We're going to be talking with head of political organization at Ndifuna Ukwazi, and that's you, Buhle Booi. Many, many congratulations on this win. And of course, this also bodes well for not only the people in the Western Cape or the Cape Flats, but I think for the country as a whole, to indicate if you persevere and if you truly, show where your heart is and you give a very constructed argument for your case, you can and will have a win. So welcome, congratulations once again. We understand there were hugs and tears of joy at a gathering of housing activists in Cape Town when the Constitutional Court handed down its judgment in the Tafelberg case. And you are going to give us the context to that case and why we should be so elated, because it's good news for other such cases, not only in the Western Cape, but around the country. Welcome.
No, thank you very much, Judy. Thank you for your kind introduction and celebratory tone on the Tafelberg matter. We really appreciate it because this is a victory for the working class people, for the people that have been pushed to the margins of society, that cannot enjoy the city life like everyone else, who only come to the cities to sell their labor. So we're very much happy, and greetings to you and greetings to the viewers at home. I think it is important. It is important that this judgment comes at this particular time, at this particular juncture in our country, where we need to fight for inclusion. We need to fight for inclusive cities. And as you've said, that maybe we need to provide context as to why this is important, why this case is important. So the context of this matter is that in 2015, the Western Cape provincial government had decided that they would declare Tafelberg site. Tafelberg site is a piece of prime land that is located in Sea Point. So they declared the site a surplus. Surplus meaning that this is a site that the Department of Infrastructure doesn't need for anything, for any public interest, and therefore they had decided that they would sell this public land. They would sell this public land to a private entity. Now, you'd appreciate, Julie, that in this country we have a crisis of housing, and it is sitting at 3.7 million, and it is growing at 178,000 annually. But more so, the crisis in the Western Cape is sitting well over 500,000. About 600,000 families are on the so-called waiting list or housing backlog. And we cannot afford, in the middle of housing crisis, to be selling public land. We cannot afford to sell public land and view public land as a mere commodity, as something to be sold. Because once it's sold, because land is a finite resource, once it's gone forever. You don't get it back. And it could be used to build exclusive developments that the citizens or the people of this province would not be able to benefit from. So it said that in 2016 that do not sell public land, do not sell Tafelberg site, use this site to build social and affordable housing for majority of working class families. It can't be that people are using a third of their salaries really to commute from the urban peripheries to the city, to sell their labor, and after that at 5 o'clock they have to go back. And for us, this is reminiscent of apartheid and Group Areas Act, that you're only allowed to come to the cities as black and brown people to sell your labor, and after that you must go back to the peripheries. And that can't be 30 plus years of the so-called democratic dispensation. So we've sought to say that we must build an inclusive city. It can't be that the city is still reserved to a particular kind of people. It's only a particular kind of people that can have access to the city, particularly white and the people that are wealthy. But working class people who build the cities do not have a place to call a home. And people were not saying that we want to live on this site for free. We're saying that we want to pay, but we want to pay what we can afford. So please use this site for us. And another context really is that if you go to
Can I
Sea
just
Point,
come in here, Buhle? Can I just
yes,
come in here? Um,
yes,
Now that the case has been won,
mm,
um, are you going to now push for affordable housing for working class people? And if so, let's look at how many people, depending on the type of housing that will be built. It might be high rises, which might be the answer. How many people do you hope then to accommodate or to be able to give housing to? 500,000, 250,000, and the price range as well.
yes. No, thank you very much, Julie. I think that's important. You know, in 2016, we had done pre-feasibility studies as Ndifuna Ukwazi, pre-feasibility studies that had said that about 270 social housing units are possible on that particular site of Tafelberg. And that's why the city, I mean, the provincial government had been fighting us to say that no, it's not possible to build affordable housing, to build social housing on this site. It is only last year that the provincial government came with a technical team to say that no, agreeing with the position that Mfungwas had taken a couple of years ago. And they'd proposed initially about 150 something, units of social housing, and we pushed them through a public participation process that they started last year to say that at least give us a yield of 200 plus social housing on this side. So I do want to say that already there is a public participation process that is ongoing, and an announcement that was made last year by the provincial government that they have an intention of using that particular site for affordable and social housing. So how this works is that they will build some market related housing units and will build social housing so that these market related high-end units can cross subsidize the low income earners, so that people can live on the site. And how social housing works is that it caters for people that are earning within the brackets of 1.8 right up to 22,000. That's the highest, that being the highest bracket. So if you're earning between 1.8 and 3.5, they calculate how much rental you can pay.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
how.
We'll come back. Buhle, we'll come back to that point in a minute or two. Let's go for an ad break and we can continue this very important discussion because it is, I should imagine, a whole case.
Mm.
Okay, I've just been told that we're done with our ad break, so you can continue. I do beg your pardon for interrupting you in mid sentence there.
No.
Please
I think I'd just tried to unpack what social housing means. So now we were in the process of trying to make sure that we get a higher yield on that particular side of Tafelberg. So in this public participation process, we're able to get 200 social housing units. But of course, I mean, earlier it was about 252 social housing units until the City of Cape Town's technical team had advised the provincial government technical team that because of heritage impact, that they need to lower their stories to 8 stories. And we will go back and fight that to say that they shouldn't have taken that kind of a decision. They should have remained with the 11 story that would give us much more yield in terms of social housing, the 252 that is needed, which makes social housing a more viable for SHI. So that's where the fight is at currently. But we're more happy, Julie, for working class people. But again, you said earlier that this is not a victory for people that are living in Cape Town. This is not only a victory for people that are living in the Western Cape. This is a precedent-setting case for everyone in this country, for all the municipalities, because part of what the judgment says is that the different spheres of government cannot declare land a surplus when land can be used in public interest. And part of what this judgment says is that different spheres of government must communicate with one another, so that if one department is unable to use the land or has no interest to use the land for its own needs, it should give it over to another department so that it can still remain in public hands and in public interest, be used for public interest. So that's why this is important. But mainly, the justice had noted that in the city of Cape Town, we seem to have a lot of pipeline projects. And I must at this point acknowledge that the provincial government, sorry, the Western Cape, the city of Cape Town, particularly the municipality, not the province, because there seems to be a classic case of internal discord in the Democratic Alliance. The city of Cape Town is a municipality is doing one thing, and the provincial government is doing another. You have a city of Cape Town that has been progressive in terms of releasing public parcels of land. And this current administration has been able to release more land than any other administration, which is more than we can say for provincial government. But in this particular situation that we're in, where land is released by the city of Cape Town, the Corn Court has said that there are a lot of pipeline projects that are meaningless, that have no meaning, that do not necessarily translate into housing for people. So within 3 months, we want the city of Cape Town and the provincial government to go back to court, to High Court, to file a report in terms of how are they planning to rid the special apartheid, how are they planning to deal with the pipeline projects so that these are translated into housing, because people will not live in pipeline projects, Julie. So that's why this particular court case is important, so that we're not kept in ceremonial releases of public land that do not
Okay.
translate into buildings for people.
And that's where we're going to have to leave it. Thank you indeed. And a wonderful win. Keep pushing, keep working hard for the people of South Africa. We need your voices to be raised and as loud as possible, so that matters of disparity can be addressed and addressed timelessly. Keep it up. God bless and go well. It is exactly 9:50 a.m. right here on News and Views on Salam Media.